Many years ago, in a village known as Afugiri, there lived a young man named Chike. Chike had two younger brothers named Kelechi and Chijioke. And although Chike was a very responsible man, he had not been very lucky in life. His father had died when he was only 15 years old, so he had to brace up and become responsible, caring for his mother and his two younger brothers. Chike did not go to school. He sacrificed his education so he could work on the farmland with his mother so they could raise money to send his two younger brothers, Kelechi and Chijioke, to school. And this continued for years until Kelechi and Chijioke graduated from secondary school. And Chike continued to work even harder until both Kelechi and Chijioke graduated from the university. Chike was a good man and was in love with Amaka. Amaka was the most pretty young lady in the whole village, and she was even as industrious as Chike. She was a tailor, and although her parents were very poor, she worked really hard, and from the little that she earned, she provided all the basic things that she needed and was also able to support her family. She never disturbed Chike for anything or money because she knew he worked very hard to see his brothers through school. Amaka was very appreciative for the little money Chike would give her from time to time. Amaka loved Chike very much, and although they had been dating for 10 years, and many suitors were coming to ask for Amaka's hand in marriage, Amaka refused. She was waiting patiently for Chike to be ready. Chike had pleaded with Amaka to be patient with him, as he wanted to settle his brothers first by sending them to the university before settling down and getting married. And Amaka agreed. Amaka's parents were very furious with her because not only did she reject rich suitors that were coming to ask for her hand in marriage, but she was their oldest daughter, and all her three younger sisters were all married. Yet, Amaka was still patiently waiting for Chike to send his brothers to school before getting married to her. And this made her parents very mad. But Chike was so grateful for Amaka's patience and treated Amaka very well, promising to do right by her and to take very good care of her all the days of his life. Chike had virtually sacrificed his life for that of his brothers. However, luck seemed to shine on Chike when in the year that Kelechi and Chijioke graduated, Chike had the opportunity to travel abroad to work after trying for so many years and failing. One day, Chike came back holding a paper and screaming excitedly, "Mama, Mama, I have gotten visa and papers to travel to London. Mama, it has happened at last," Chike said excitedly. My son, let me see," Chike's mother said as she collected the papers, knelt down thanking God for finally making it possible for her son to travel abroad. Kelechi and Chijioke both hugged their brother, congratulating him. Brother, congratulations, you deserve it," Kelechi and Chijioke both chorused. They were all so excited. Later that day, when Chike broke the news to Amaka, she was quite very happy, yet sad at the same time. She was happy because this was something that Chike had always wanted, and it also meant a promise of a better life for them. But she was, however, sad because now that Chike's brothers had both graduated, they were supposed to get married. But now, with this new development, their marriage would have to be postponed. Chike spoke to her lovingly, saying, "My love, please just be patient with me a little longer. I would work for only 5 years, then I would come back. And with the money that I gather over there, we would build houses and own businesses, and we will never be poor again in our lives. You know that if I had the means, I would have paid your bride price first before leaving for London. But I am trying to gather every money that I have now to settle the expenses of my flight to London. Please try and understand, my love," Chike said to Amaka. Amaka was very understanding, and so she was happy for Chike. She promised him that she was going to wait. She imagined how great their lives would become. She told herself that if she could wait for 10 years, what was ordinary 5 years extra that she could not wait? And so they both laughed and gisted before Chike had to go back home. In a few days, Chike was ready to leave the country. He was so happy and excited. He was happy that he had trained his brothers and they had both graduated from the university. And now at least they will be able to get good jobs and be able to take care of themselves and their mother. He was also very happy that Amaka, his girlfriend, was a very understanding girlfriend and had promised to wait for him. So Amaka, Chike's girlfriend, Kelechi and Chijioke, Chike's brothers, and Chike's mother all waved him goodbye as he left for the city so he could fly to London. They all prayed for him that he was going to find favor and prosper in the white man's land. Chike arrived London. He was first of all shocked by how cold the weather was and was also shocked by the difference in culture. He was quite happy that he met a lot of Nigerians who were very helpful to him. Chike was very focused. He knew that he had only 5 years to work very hard and send as much money back home so his brothers could help him build houses and start businesses so that as soon as he came back, he would have something to show for his years of labor and hard work. Chike was in constant communication with his family. He always called his mother and his brothers and spent even more time speaking with Amaka. He always told her how different London was from Nigeria. And he would always tell her, "Amaka, I love you so much. Please just wait for me for 5 years. Everything I am doing now is for us. I have settled my brothers. All my sacrifices and hard work now is so that we will both have a better life," Chike would tell her. And Amaka would always reply and say, "I love you so much, Chike, and I would wait for you." And this made Chike very happy. In a few months, Chike had settled very well in London. He was working 3 different menial jobs, all in a bid to save enough money to send back home. He worked in a morgue, he washed plates and also worked as a carer in an old people's home. Chike was always exhausted. He lived very frugally so he could save enough money to send back home so his brothers could build and start up businesses for him. 1 year later, Chike had saved up substantial cash, so he called his brother, Kelechi, and said, "Hello, I have saved up some money, and I think it is time for you to start helping me buy lands and build for me, just as I told you before. So please, I will send you £5,000. Go and buy 2 plots of land for me in Umuahia, and buy another 2 plots of land in Owerri for me," Chike said to his brother, Kelechi. "Okay, brother, I will," Kelechi answered him. Chike would also go ahead and call Chijioke, his other brother, who was an engineer, and would send him money to help him build his houses. So his two brothers, Kelechi and Chijioke, worked together to help him acquire landed properties and build on them. Chike sent his mother monthly money every single month through his brothers, and also sent the love of his life, Amaka, money every month. And despite the fact that his brothers had graduated from the university and now worked, Chike still sent them money every month. And Chike continued to live like this for the next 3 years. And from the money that he had been sending to his brothers to help him buy lands and build houses, Chike had already bought lands and built 6 houses. His brother would always send him pictures of the buildings stage by stage, and Chike was so happy and grateful to his brothers. At least now he had 6 properties that he could call his own, and he had just 2 years left to go back to Nigeria. He was proud of himself. However, in Chike's fourth year in London, he began to notice some changes with Amaka, his girlfriend. She no longer picked his calls, and whenever she did, she always sounded distant or absent. So one of the days that she picked his calls, Chike said, "Amaka, what is it? Please talk to me. Now you hardly pick my calls or even return them. Have I offended you or have I done something wrong?" Chike inquired. "Hmm. Chike, I'm no longer a baby. Oh. All of my sisters, my younger sisters for that matter, are not just married, but now have 2 to 3 children. And I am here, unmarried, and still waiting for you. Chike, suitors are coming my way again, and I do not want to miss my opportunity to get married. You know, a woman is like a flower that blooms in the morning and falls at night. We have seasons. I'm not sure I can wait for you any longer, oh," Amaka said bluntly. "Please, Amaka, I just have 1 year left and I'll be back to Nigeria. I know you have been patient, but please give me 1 more year. Just like I promised you, I have already built 6 houses, and my brother is currently building a mega factory for me and a mansion in the village. All I am doing is for us. Please, Amaka, be patient with me," Chike pleaded, sounding downcast. "I have been waiting for you for years. You said I should wait for you to send your brothers to school. I waited. Now you said you wanted to go abroad and work for 5 years. How do I know that you will not change your mind at the end of next year? Besides, there is someone hanging around and showing serious interest. I'm not sure I can afford to wait for you anymore," Amaka said and cut the call. Chike spent the whole day worried. He did not want to lose Amaka. He was not even upset about anything that she said. He knew she was a very good woman and that she had really tried, waiting for him for all these years. He knew that he had to act really fast. So after several days of thinking, he came up with a plan. He decided that he would send money to his brother Kelechi so he could go with their family to go and pay Amaka's bride price on his behalf. So Amaka would know that he was serious and Amaka would become his wife. So Chike spoke with his brother Kelechi and sent him some money to represent him and to pay Amaka's bride price in grand style and marry her for him so he does not lose her. The traditional wedding was the talk of the town. Chike spared no expense. Amaka looked very beautiful. She was such a happy bride. Kelechi represented his brother and even drank the cup of palm wine on behalf of his brother Chike. Chike was so happy. He thanked Kelechi for helping him marry his wife. At least now he was sure that he was not going to lose her. Chike was so excited. He continued to speak to Amaka constantly over the phone. Although, he still noticed a slight difference in how she spoke to him and how she responded to him. It was not like before. But Chike was not worried because now he had paid her bride price. And he also believed that it was the distance that was still affecting their relationship. And he was sure that as soon as he came back to Nigeria, everything would be okay. However, a few months after the traditional wedding, Chike's mother died. Chike was so sad. He wept bitterly, especially because he was not with his mother during the last few days of her life. But although he could not make it for the burial, he sent money for the burial and made sure that he gave his mother a grand and befitting burial. After 1 year, it was barely a week for Chike to come back to Nigeria. He woke up one day feeling so happy. He thanked God for his successful stay in London for 5 years. He also thanked God for all that he had been able to achieve back home in Nigeria throughout his stay in London. At least now he had built 6 houses in Umuahia and Owerri, and a mansion in the village, and a factory where they produced tin tomatoes. He had also been able to traditionally marry Amaka. He thanked God specifically for his brothers Kelechi and Chijioke, who had helped him achieve all this, and who would always send him pictures of all the projects they were doing for him with the money that he was sending. And he was so satisfied. A few days later, Chike was finally back to Nigeria. He was excited to be back home. He had missed the smell of Nigeria. But he was, however, surprised that neither Kelechi nor Chijioke had come to the airport to pick him up. He had informed them when he was coming back to Nigeria, and they had agreed that they were going to come pick him up. After calling his brothers and their numbers were not going through, he waited for a few hours, and when none of them showed up, he decided to find his way back home to the village. After all, he was Omo Naija. Chike was first of all met by the rude shock that their house was still the same way it was, old and poverty-stricken. His brothers had not built any house. He was surprised because they had sent him pictures of the house that they built in the village. But standing before him was an old tattered house. Chike was afraid. He hoped it was not what he thought it was. And his brother's numbers were still not going through. So after dropping his bags in his house, he decided to go and see Amaka. But surprisingly, on his way to Amaka's house, he saw a big house that looked exactly like the house his brothers had been snapping and sending to him. So he asked some villagers who were passing by who owned the house, and they told him it was for one Dede Uche, a chief in their village, Afugiri. It was then it dawned on Chike that his brothers might have duped him. He had been sending money to his brothers to build for him in the village, and instead of building, they were busy snapping someone else's house and sending the pictures to him while telling him that it was his own house. Meanwhile, they were pocketing his money. Chike was very afraid. He was scared that his brothers did not build any house or factory, whether in the village or in the city, for him. And the fact that he could not even reach his brothers made him more worried. Upon getting to Amaka's house, Chike saw that Amaka's house looked deserted. He wondered where everyone had gone to. He tried calling Amaka too. It rang initially, then it went off. Chike went back home, crying, a thousand things running through his mind. He really didn't know what to think. After a few days, after his return to the village, Chike's childhood friend Emeka had heard that Chike was back from London and had come to visit him. Chike, my friend, see how swollen your eyes are. You have been my good friend since we were children, and even when you traveled abroad, you still helped me, even when I was stranded. And although people may be afraid to tell you the truth, I know where your brothers are, and I can take you there, Emeka said. Chike looked at him with tears in his eyes and said, "Thank you, my friend. Please, do you know if my brothers build the houses and factory I sent them money to build, or at least where my wife Amaka is?" Chike asked. "I cannot say any other thing than I have already said. Just follow me first. Let me take you to where they are," Emeka said. And with that, Chike followed Emeka to Umuahia, to the front of a very beautiful house. Chike was so surprised at how beautiful the house was. Emeka knocked and the gateman opened the gate and let them both inside, not knowing who they were. The gateman went ahead to inform his oga that he had a visitor. Chike was shocked to see his brother Kelechi walking into the sitting room majestically. Who is looking for me?" Kelechi said as he walked in. He had not yet seen his brother Chike. And upon seeing his brother Chike, he shouted, "Jesus, Chike, how did you find me? How did you find this house?" And immediately, a beautiful, heavily pregnant young woman ran out afraid and said, "Baby, what is it? I heard you scream Jesus. Odekwamma." Amaka said, not noticing Chike. And immediately she recognized Chike. She also shouted, "Jesus!" And a young, beautiful girl of about 3 years old ran into the parlor and said, "Mommy, what is it?" Chike could not believe his eyes. Amaka, his wife, was now married to his brother Kelechi and was pregnant for him. And they both even had a daughter who was up to 3 years old when he had just paid her bride price last year. So that meant that Amaka had already given birth to the 3-year-old daughter for his brother Kelechi, even before him, Chike, had sent money to Kelechi to help him pay her bride price on his behalf. It dawned on Chike that he sponsored his brother to marry his fiancée. And immediately, Chike shouted and said, "How could you do this to me, Kelechi, after all that I have done for you? Yet, not only did you dupe me of my money, you did not build any house in the village. And this one that you built, you are living in it as though it is yours. And as if that is not enough, you also took my wife. And you, Amaka, how can you betray me like this?" Chike said, crying. Chike, Biko, please, don't start at all. Don't start that nonsense with me. For your information, first of all, this house or the other houses that I built and the factory are not yours. They are mine. Your name is not on any of the documents, so they are not yours. But how do I expect you to be able to understand any of these things when you are an illiterate? And as for Amaka, did you expect this pretty lady to wait for you? An illiterate? Come on now, Chike, Biko, get out of my house this instant," Kelechi said angrily. Amaka, on the other hand, could not utter a word. She was so ashamed of herself. Chike looked at Kelechi in shock and said, "Is it me you are calling an illiterate, Kelechi? So after breaking my back to send you and Chijioke to school, you dare open that mouth to call me an illiterate? I will deal with you. And I will take back all my properties. That I can promise you," Chike said angrily. "You cannot do anything. You're a spineless bulldog. And yes, I called you an illiterate. And I'll call you again, illiterate," Kelechi replied boldly. And with that, Chike and his friend Emeka left Kelechi's house. Chike wept and wept all day. Chike was also able to locate Chijioke, and he found out that even Chijioke had duped him as well. He found out that his brothers had both built the 6 houses with his money and had shared the houses equally amongst themselves, and also built the factory and were both controlling the factory as though they were the one that owned it. Chike broke down in tears. He remembered how he toiled all day in the farm with his mother to send his brothers to school, and how he worked 3 menial jobs in London. denying himself of luxury and sending all his money back home for his brothers to build for him. Now they had built and coveted his properties. Chike felt betrayed and used. He remembered how some of his Nigerian friends in London had warned him against sending money back home for his brothers to help him build. But he did not listen. They had advised Chike to save all the money he was making. And when he relocates back to Nigeria, he could now start buying lands by himself and building, or that he should just engage the services of real estate firms and lawyers to build for him instead. But Chike refused. He told them that his brothers were not like other Nigerians. Chike wept and could not eat for days. And of all the betrayals, he was broken by the fact that Amaka had married his brother. And there he was in London, sending money for his brother Kelechi to marry Amaka on his behalf, not knowing that his brother Kelechi was actually marrying her for himself. Chike felt like a fool. After a few weeks of weeping and crying, Chike pulled himself together with the help of his friend Emeka. So he went to the police station to report the matter. But his brothers bribed the police officers, so they refused to investigate the matter. Kelechi and Chijioke had already made friends in government and in high places, so they used their power and connection to bury the case. Chike was becoming very frustrated. He was broke and could not even bribe any police officer. So Chike decided that since the judicial system had failed him, he was going to take the matter to the gods. So Chike went to Okija shrine, and after narrating everything to the priest, Chike asked for vengeance and told the gods to mete out vengeance on whoever was wrong between him and his brothers and Amaka. Then Chike offered sacrifices and left. Within a space of just 3 months, Amaka died. She was in the hospital and in labor and had complications while trying to give birth, and both her and her son died. Kelechi and Chijioke both ran mad and began to roam the streets of Umuahia mad. Kelechi and Amaka's 3-year-old daughter fell sick and died. Everything happened so quickly in just a space of 3 months. Chike had been vindicated at last. He went ahead and took possession of all the 6 houses his brother stole from him, and the factory too, and changed the ownership and the document so it contains his name. He also went back to Okija shrine with a cow to thank the gods for fighting for him and vindicating him. Hello besties, thanks again for watching my story to the end. Your favorite storyteller, Omalicha, is so grateful. Now to my viewers and subscribers in diaspora, please, I would love to know, have you ever experienced something like this? And also, how do you handle, buying properties and making investments back home? Do you trust your family members enough for them to buy properties or invest for you? Or do you engage the services of professionals like lawyers, real estate firms? Please let me know what your take is in the comment section. And please support my channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing with your loved ones. Now, until I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye!